So Black Lightning just wrapped up its third season. Based off the DC Comics superhero of the same name, this ongoing live-action television series debuted in the CW in 2018. As you may recall, I made a video recapping my thoughts on the entirety of Arrow, which I dubbed the Arrow Experience. You can think of this video as a spiritual successor to that one, just now with Black Lightning. You know, this series had an interesting development history. You see, Greg Berlanti, the writer, producer, and director famous for being one of the architects behind the Arrowverse, began pitching a Black Lightning TV series to multiple networks back in 2016. Fox initially picked up the pilot, but ultimately turned it down, stating that they had enough comic book TV shows. At the time, the network had 3. Gotham, based off DC's Batman mythos, Lucifer, based off the DC Vertigo comic book series of the same name, and The Gifted, based off Marvel's X-Men mythos. This led to the CW picking up the series, but at the time, it wasn't part of the Arrowverse. This would change, but more on that later. I went into Season 1 with an open mind, and I ended up really enjoying it. I really liked how Black Lightning wasn't an origin story. This version of Jefferson Pierce wasn't some young adult just learning how to be a superhero, but a family man who's been in the crime-fighting business for some time. Well, the series begins 9 years after Jefferson stopped fighting crime as Black Lightning, and focused more on being the principal of his local high school, but the increased crime rate in Freeland convinces him to return to being Black Lightning. The family dynamic was very organic. I liked seeing Jefferson interact with his ex-wife, Lynn, his daughters, Anissa and Jennifer, and his surrogate father, Peter Gamby. I also liked how this season saw both of his daughters get superpowers, with Anissa adopting her comic book alias of Thunder. I like how it dealt with themes such as institutionalized racism and police brutality, as they made the series feel even more authentic and mature. And of course I have to talk about Tobias Whale. He was a very entertaining villain who had ties to everything bad happening in Freeland. The plot was also very good. I like how it started out as just a street-level superhero series, but it evolved into a fight against a rogue unit of the ASA, a corrupt branch of the US government whose experiments on black communities unintentionally created metahumans, including Jefferson himself. Honestly, my only complaint about Season 1 was how they introduced Grace Choi, Anissa's girlfriend and a superhero in her own right in the comics. The second episode established that Anissa was dating an original character named Shanoa, but the episode after that saw them break up after Shanoa thought Anissa was cheating on her with Grace. This felt a little too quick to me. Maybe I wouldn't mind if we spent more than 2 episodes with Shanoa, but still. Season 2 was also pretty good. I like how it immediately dealt with the ramifications of the Pierce's fight against the ASA, with Jefferson getting demoted to a teacher due to his inexplicable absence, and Lynn now helping the ASA stabilize the metahuman teenagers that they've abducted over the years. We also got to see Jennifer start to learn how to control her powers and adopt her comic book alias of Lightning. I also liked Tobias Whale's storyline in this season. Season 1 ended with the crime lord taking Jennifer's boyfriend, Khalil Payne, under his wing, turning him into Painkiller, followed by stealing a briefcase from the ASA. Season 2 saw Whale succeed in destroying all evidence that could connect him to the murder of Jefferson's father, Alvin Pierce, along with using that ASA briefcase to unleash the Masters of Disaster. But it also saw him lose his top assassin, Cyanide, fail to attempt at rekindling a romance with another assassin, Cutter, and him ultimately getting arrested by the ASA thanks to our heroes. I still feel like that last one could have possibly been avoided if he didn't kill Khalil, as Jennifer wouldn't have been as dedicated to bringing him to justice. I mean, I don't blame her. He was her first love. Season 3 was the best season yet. I like how it continued where Season 2 left off, with Percy Odell, the new head of the ASA, telling the Pierces that he needed their help to stop a metahuman war against Markovia. Freeland is now under occupation by the ASA, and metas are being put in camps and getting trained as war machines. Jefferson initially tries his best to stay on Odell's good side, but he ultimately joins the resistance against the ASA, which Anissa co-founded as Blackbird. I don't blame him. The ASA was ruling Freeland with an iron fist, taking away anyone that they could use for their potential conflict and imprison anyone who disagreed with them. Odell himself did so many horrible things. He groomed Jennifer to become a metahuman agent for the ASA, used subliminal messaging to get Lynn hooked on a modified version of Greenlight, the ASA drug that helped them create metahumans, and resurrected Khalil, brainwashing him into a more ruthless, sadistic painkiller. I like how the mid-season finale was a tie-in to the Arrowverse adaptation of Crisis on Infinite Earths, officially confirming that Black Lightning was part of this DC TV multiverse. It specifically saw Jennifer meeting a couple doppelgangers of herself from parallel Earths, and this experience ultimately convinces her to stop working for Odell. It also saw Black Lightning's Earth getting destroyed by antimatter, with Jefferson getting teleported away at the last minute to help the other Arrowverse heroes. I felt that Crisis enhanced Black Lightning. Now that it's explicitly set in the same universe as the rest of the CW's shows, we can get more references to other DC properties. Now I want to talk about Tyson Sykes, aka Gravedigger. He acts as the antagonist for the second half of this season. I found his story to be very interesting. Basically, he was a black soldier during World War II experimented on by the US military, turning him into the Arrowverse's first metahuman. After the war, he chose to help Markovia overthrow their government, and then became one of their top generals. I like how Gravedigger is a villain with good intentions. He wanted to liberate Freeland's metahumans from a government that's been exploiting them for decades and bring them to Markovia, where he could create a country only populated by metas. How he wouldn't have been experimented on if he didn't retaliate against the racist white soldiers in his platoon. There's also a good scene where Sykes explains how he got the Gravedigger codename. Back during World War II, black soldiers were forced to bury the dead after every battle. Sykes continued doing this to the present day, believing that even his enemies deserved proper burials. The plot twist about him being Jefferson's great-uncle made this fight even more personal. So yeah, those are all my thoughts on Black Lightning so far. I like how we don't have a clear idea about how Season 4 will play out. The Pierces have completely exposed the ASA, leading to it getting disbanded. Jefferson now has his own team of outsiders to help him protect Freeland, and both Tobias and Gravedigger are still active threats. I can't wait for this show to return. Hello, I see that you have reached the end of this video. If you liked what you just saw, you can give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter at DialogueNerdy. If you really want to, you can also ring the bell to be notified every time I upload a new video.